What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Last time we built the villager breeder way up in the sky up there, and now it's time to get started on the villager trading hall. I think today we're only going to have time to actually build the structure and not turn it into a full-on working villager trading hall, but you have to have something to put the villagers in before you can start villager trading hall them. I don't know what I just said. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in between episodes doing some resource gathering, got lots and lots of wool, mostly white and light blue. That's what we're going to use for today's build. Also got a lot of glass. I'm going to need a lot of glass for this build. I'm using it both as part of the structure, but also I need to build a big chute that leads from the villager breeder up at top down to the villager trading hall, so that when the villagers fall down, they stay in that little 2x2 area and fall safely. And that thing is 100 blocks tall, and I need to cover it on 4 sides, so that's it's a lot of glass. I need a lot of glass, so I've got a lot of glass smelted up. I've got some more glass smelting up right now, and then we'll go ahead and grab the wool that we're also going to use for this thing and head up there. So the very first thing that we need to do is come up to the villager breeder, and I actually want to move these beds back a little ways. I forgot that villagers can reach beds from pretty far away, a lot farther than players can, which seems kind of unfair. And so there is a small chance that these villagers, if it's nighttime, they could come over here, and before they fall into the little hole, they could actually like jump into the bed and start sleeping. So I'm just going to move these back a little ways just to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, we'll open those back up, and I'm going to head back down, and we're going to start building the chute that will be around this little hole that the villagers will fall into, down to the actual villager trading hall. Okay, so down at the bottom of this, this block right here is going to be one of the corners that the villagers will fall down through. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark out the bottom of this thing so I know the area that I need to work around. And then I'm going to surround this with glass. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to break this block right here, which means that this entire thing is going to come crashing down. But yeah, I should have thought about that before I built the scaffolding, that that's not ultimately where the scaffolding is going to go. But right now I need to break it so I can put glass there, which is going to be part of the final roof for this thing. So let me go gather up my scaffolding and we'll get started. All right, so before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and build one row all the way around this thing. And then I'm going to fill this with water. And this is just going to serve as a little safety net, so that what I'm going to do is I'm going to nerd pull all the way up for each of these columns. So for example, we'll start here and we'll just start going all the way up until we reach the top. And then I can just drop down into the water, since we broke our scaffolding and don't really have a safe way to climb down, versus having to drop like all the way down to the ocean, then climb back up. So this will just make it much easier. So that's the plan. Nerd pull all the way up with glass and then drop down into the water, and we'll do this all the way around. Alright, so I got the whole chute built. Turns out I made a little boo-boo. I was a little bit off on my placement of this thing and ended up having to move the whole thing over, I think 1 block that way and 1 block that way. So it wasn't a huge deal, but I did have it in the wrong place to begin with. Now, for the rest of the roof, we're going to do this whole thing out of glass. And I'm going to come all the way this way to 1 block into the trees. If that doesn't make sense, what I mean is I'm going to come all the way over until I am like halfway through the tree trunk like this. And so we're going to do this around all 4 sides, and I'm probably going to have to go back to my base and get some of that glass that's smelting up, because I am almost out of glass. Alright, so we got the whole glass roof put in. This looks so good. I really love the RTX. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it when I first started the series, but with things like glass, it's just so good. So let's go down and start working on the floor next. We're going to kind of hold off on the walls. Why can't I get down the scaffolding? Is it because of the stupid vines? Yes. Okay, so we want to come 4 blocks down. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we want walls that are 4 blocks tall. And so I guess our floor is actually going to be 5 blocks down like this. And so very similar to our roof up there, we're just going to build a large platform that goes between all of the trees, built out of wool. I thought that wool would be a nice building material for this just because I have a sheep farm, so I have an unlimited supply of wool, unlike I'd originally planned on building this out of concrete powder, not concrete, but concrete powder. I thought it would be really fun to build a huge structure way up in the sky out of materials that could just fall if you broke whatever they were sitting on. Like I was going to do a bottom layer out of trap doors and then have all the concrete powder sitting on top of the trap doors. Actually, originally I wanted to do scaffolding. And then have this whole thing sitting on top of the scaffolding. And my plan being, like, at the end of the series, I would just break the scaffolding and this whole structure would just come tumbling down. But with how scaffolding works, you can only build 7 blocks out from the source, from the whatever is attached to the ground. And so it would have required like several columns of scaffolding from the ground to create an entire base layer that would have held this whole thing up. And so that it just didn't work. So unfortunately I do have to remove this little branch that's sticking out right here just because it's right in the way of our walls and floor for the structure that we're trying to build. I thought about maybe keeping some of it, like the part that's under the floor, trying to keep it, and maybe it would look like it was helping to hold this structure up, but I don't think so. I don't think that one layer of this is going to be enough for the entire villager trading hall that I'm planning. And so eventually, I'm not going to do it today, but I think eventually I'm probably going to have to build either a second level to this below this one, or maybe like little hallways and rooms kind of sticking off this. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far with the design for this yet, but I just know that I don't want, I didn't really need to keep any of the branch below this. All right, so then we are just going to fill this whole area in with white wool. I think once I've got this whole thing built, I'll probably replace some of this white wool with some of the light blue wool that I brought. That's why I brought light blue wool, was to kind of mix the colors up. But I need to get the walls in before I really know where I want to put the light blue wool, because I want to do some sort of design, some sort of pattern out of it. Okay, and now that we've got the floor put in, let's come back up to the top here. And I'm going to put in another little wall of glass above this. So on the outside edge, I'm going to go all the way around one more row high with glass. And actually, this little corner over here is going to be a little bit different because we are going to leave the leaves there. So we'll just skip that corner, come all the way across with glass this way, on this side, and then the fourth side. And we're going to leave this corner open because for now, this is how we're going to get up. I still haven't put my scaffolding in. After I replaced that block with glass, I put the scaffolding going all the way back up and then realized that's not going to work because of what we're about to do. And so I'm just going to wait until I'm done up here before trying to get the scaffolding back up. But that scaffolding in the corner here is how we're going to get up to the top of this thing so we can get all the way up to the villager breeder. So now let's come into the corner here and start putting in some water, and we're just going to fill this whole thing with water sources. This is very similar to like our iron farm or our raid farm, except we actually do want the entire thing to fill in with water sources. So we're going to go all the way to the corners with this. And once we get 2 sides, then the rest of it should just fill in. Now I need to be careful with the leaves here because I don't want to waterlog the leaves. So I need to make sure I place the water on the glass below it. There's some weird tweaking going on with the RTX here. Alright, so what's the story here? Why did we build basically a giant swimming pool on top of what's going to be our villager trading hall? Because it looks amazing. It looks so cool having this glass roof with the water on top of it. Plus, if it wasn't raining, you could see like the shimmer effect of the light from the sun passing through the water on the ground, but we'll have to wait until it finishes raining to really be able to show that off. Okay, now let's work on the walls. So we'll do one wall here, and then I'll just do the other 3 walls the exact same. So we're going to do 1 row all the way across like this, and then I'm going to do 2 columns that are solid, and then let me come over to this side, 1, 2, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, which should leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So we're going to have 2 windows that are 5 blocks long on each side, and then like a little column of wool in the middle, and then we'll put a top to this thing just like that. All right, so now that I've got this in place, this is where I want to start mixing in some of that light blue wool. So let me actually replace this middle column with light blue. Oh good, it's nighttime. Let's sleep. Hopefully the rain will clear up and we can see how the swimming pool ceiling looks with the sun coming through it. Alright, so I guess we'll have to actually wait for the sun to rise since, you know, this is realistic lighting. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I love it. Oh, it's awesome. Okay, so yes, the light blue we're going to do in the middle. And I think I'll probably extend this to the ground as well. And I don't want to have just like 4 columns of light blue coming from the walls into the middle, so I'll probably come out little ways and then maybe do like a circle or a square or something. I don't know, I'll worry about that later. But here's where things are going to get really crazy. So this wall, it's going to be 3 blocks deep. So we're going to sneak out to the side here, and we're going to put in another row of white wool like this. We'll do some light blue right here. And then we'll come out 1 more row, and basically we're just going to do the exact same thing that we did on the inside, but 3 rows deep. Bear with me, this is all going to make sense when I get this thing finished. It's going to look really, really good, I promise. Alright, so we've got something kind of like this. I did leave a gap in the middle section right here, just because it's going to look better that way. Now, here's what we're going to do. I don't want to put in glass for the windows. I don't want to use glass. I'm kind of turning things on their head. So I've got glass on the ceiling, and I want to do the windows out of water. Yes, water windows. But I don't want the water to spill into or outside of this thing. So that's why we made this 3 blocks deep. So I've got some jungle logs here. I'm going to turn these into planks and build a ton of jungle trapdoors. And so we're going to put trapdoors on the outside, on the bottom and top like this. And this is going to hold the water in place. I'd originally thought about doing buttons for this, but the buttons, they just kind of stand out and you're like, why are there buttons there? The trapdoors, it kind of makes sense. You know, trapdoors are often used as windows, except we're not like opening them for the actual windows. We're closing them for the windows. We're going to leave them open. And it's really just there to hold the water in. But it also serves another purpose, because when you've got the trapdoors here, you can't actually fit through it, and so we don't have to worry about the villagers getting up in here and like getting into the water or anything. So something a little like that. I'm gonna make myself a little infinite water source in here, just because I don't know if I'll be able to get one in the wall as I'm doing this. So we'll come over here and finish putting the trapdoors in that I missed. And then we're just going to put water sources across the top here, like this. And this is why I left that middle part open. We're going to put water in there as well. And the reason for that is if we don't, then the water is going to look like it's sort of falling off. Like it just looks better to have the water going through the middle. And there we go. There is our water windows on one side of the wall. The only downside to this is now, because the wall's 3 blocks deep, you can't actually see out without jumping. But I'm not too worried about that, because eventually we're going to put a bunch of villagers in here, and we'll probably end up putting like stalls against the wall to put them into. So we're actually not ever going to go up against the wall anyway. So it's fine. But it looks really cool having windows made out of water, having a roof made out of glass with water above it, and you get the water shimmery effect on the ground. Oh, this is looking so good. I love it. So let me do the other 3 walls exactly like this one, and let me figure out something to do with the light blue wool coming in, make some sort of design out of it. Alright, I have finished the inside of this thing, I believe. So we've got all 4 walls done. We've got the water windows in place. We've got the trapdoors that's holding the water in place. Threw in some lighting, because while I was working on this, nighttime fell, and I realized how incredibly dark it is inside this thing. So I think we're done with the inside of this. So let's go up top. I still need to replace the scaffolding that will get us up to the actual breeder. And so let me come across here with some glass, because I don't want to replace any of the water with glass that I don't have to. We have to have this chute here. So let me come above the water right here. and I'll just build like a little glass bridge that comes out. Yeah, we'll stop right there. And then this is how we'll get over to the scaffolding that will take us all the way back up to the villager breeder. So let's actually go up there and we'll test this out. We'll breed up another villager and make sure that he falls safely down into the villager trading hall. So good, we've still got some food in each of our droppers. So I'm gonna try to get better at my timing on this because I only want it to tick 12 times so they only get enough food to breed once. And I might sometimes do it twice since we've got 2 beds, but I just want it once. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How'd I do? Perfect. I had 18, I got down to 6. That means it dispensed 12 and they are breeding. Okay. So while I am waiting for the baby villager to be born and slowly make his way over here, there he is. So we'll just wait for him to fall into this, hopefully not death trap. Oh, here he comes, here he comes. Oh, come on, come on. Come on. Okay, let's help you out, little guy. Come here. Yeah, what's over here? Oh, there you go. And look at that. He lands perfectly safe down in his new home. Oh, it's so nice when you spend a lot of time working on a build and then it actually works. Okay, so that is actually going to finish up today's build. Villager trading halls, they're big. They take a lot of time and effort. We started with the villager breeder, then we built the actual structure that will be the villager trading hall. And now we need to actually start populating it with villagers and set up some workstations and stuff to actually like trap them and keep them in place. I did not think about the babies being able to get up there, but they shouldn't actually get out. I can't imagine why they would try to get through the water, but I'll keep an eye on them. I'm also going to spend some time. I've got 8 more villagers trapped in boats down there by my base. I'm going to take some time to try to move them up in here because they're already bred adults and I don't have to actually breed them and spend carrots or potatoes or anything and then wait for them to grow up. So yeah, I'll try to get a bunch of villagers crammed in here, and the next time we can actually start turning it into a proper villager trading hall with workstations and like contain the villagers so we can trade with them more easily. Yeah, it's gonna look good and I'm looking forward to it. So that's going to wrap things up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying trying new things. I never would have built a villager trading hall out of wool with water windows and a swimming pool for the ceiling before, but it was a lot of fun. If this were a little bit more late game, I would love to replace the lighting with sea lanterns. I think sea lanterns would look great in this sort of build, but with how early I am, I'm just kind of limited on my light sources, so we'll go with lanterns for now. But check back next time and we'll try to get this thing filled in with villagers and start actually getting a proper villager trading hall and hopefully actually finally get some armor and some diamond tools, which was the whole purpose. I'm trying to avoid using my diamonds that I found while mining to actually build stuff and get all my diamond gear from villagers. So thank you all so much for watching. Big shout out to my patron Summer. Thank you so much for your support. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button. And while you're down there, feel free to subscribe so you'll get notified of future episodes as they come out. Thanks y'all and have a great day.